us through all the years. Oh, and more, much more.
Elvis Aron Presley was born on January 8, 1935 in Tupelo, Mississippi. Presley was supposed to be a twin, but his brother Jesse Garon was stillborn. From very humble beginnings, Presley grew up to become one of the biggest names in rock and roll. Raised by loving, working-class parents, Presley's family had little money and they moved from place to place frequently. He was deeply devoted to his parents, especially his mother, Gladys, and was raised to have a strong faith in God. Presley attended the Assembly of God Church with his parents, where gospel music became an important influence for him. Presley received his first guitar as a gift from his mother on his 11th birthday in 1946, and had his first taste of musical success a few years later when he won a talent show at Humes High School in Memphis. After graduating in 1953, he worked a number of jobs while pursuing his musical dream. He cut his first demo record at what later became known as Sun Studio that year, and before long Sam Phillips, the record label owner, decided to take the young performer under his wing. Presley soon began touring and recording, trying to catch his first big break. That's All Right was Presley's first single in 1954. However, here are the facts about Elvis Presley. Elvis Presley was born into poverty. Elvis Presley's upbringing was not the kind you would expect for the future king of rock and roll. According to Mississippi History Now, the future jailhouse rock crooner was born on January 8, 1935 in a two-room shotgun house in East Tupelo. At the time, the neighborhood was sometimes referred to as the roughest town in North Mississippi. Although they didn't have much, Elvis' parents Gladys and Vernon Presley still gave their son an abundance of love. "My love for my son began even before he was born," Elvis' father shared with Good Housekeeping in 1978. He added, "At that time there was almost nobody poorer than my wife Gladys and me, but we were thrilled and excited when we learned that we were going to be parents." Unfortunately for the happy couple and their baby boy, bliss didn't last long. By the time Elvis was 3, his family home, which had been built by Elvis' father, uncle and paternal grandfather, was taken away after Vernon landed in prison for altering a $4 check. Although Vernon was gone for 8 months, Elvis was surely affected after he and his mother had to move in with extended family in Tupelo. According to one of his cousins, his father's imprisonment was traumatic for the future star. Elvis Presley was near hysteria after his mother passed away. Elvis Presley's mother gave birth to her son on January 8, 1935, shortly before dawn. According to Elvis Australia, earlier that morning, she delivered another boy, Jesse Garon, who was stillborn. As the outlet writes, by the time both mother and son returned home, it was noticed by family members and friends that she was overprotective of her newborn son, perhaps due to a paranoia that something awful would happen to him as well. Although suffering such a loss can affect both mother and the remaining sibling, Elvis and Gladys developed an incredibly strong bond. Gladys was seen as a strong and supportive presence in her son's life, so you can imagine how traumatized the crooner was after she passed away at 46 due to a sudden heart attack. The Love Me Tender singer had been drafted by the U.S. Army 5 months earlier, but after Gladys fell ill, he was granted a 7-day leave to see her, 2 days before the heart attack claimed her. Of her passing, Elvis told the Associated Press, "It broke my heart, she was always my best girl." Elvis' official cause of death was nowhere near the truth. Elvis Aron Presley passed away on August 16, 1977, in his sprawling Memphis property Graceland at the age of 42. According to Town and Country, he was found by his girlfriend Ginger Alden, unconscious in his master suite bathroom. "The last thing that was said to me, I told him not to fall asleep in the bathroom and he said I won't," Alden wrote years later in her book Elvis and Ginger. "He turned, gave me a little wave, walked into the bathroom and I found him a little while later. It was a devastating day." Elvis' death certificate stated that his death was caused by hypertensive cardiovascular disease associated with atherosclerotic heart disease. Simply put, a heart attack. Some fans didn't believe the sudden tragedy, claiming his death was related to a lethal combination of powerful prescription drugs. It was Tennessee's chief medical examiner Jerry Francisco who brushed off those claims. Only days after the king's sudden passing, Francisco stated to the American Medical News, Elvis Presley died of heart disease, and prescription drugs found in his blood were not a contributing factor. Had these drugs not been there, he still would have died. There are some disturbing similarities between Michael Jackson and Elvis. It was only fitting that Lisa Marie Presley married the king of pop. After all, she was a part of music royalty herself as Elvis Presley's only daughter. In 1994, Lisa Marie and Michael Jackson tied the knot, yet their fairy tale abruptly ended in 1996, barely 20 months after the couple had wed. Jackson and Presley's marriage was in the tabloids incessantly. Speculation among the masses even began that the relationship was a publicity stunt designed to save the damaged image of Jackson, who was facing allegations of child abuse. It didn't help that the pair reportedly lived apart in their respective mansions. Out of all the gossip, what perhaps may be the most haunting piece of information was the Beat It singer eerily foreshadowing his own death by relating it to his former father-in-law. As Presley revealed on her MySpace blog after Jackson's death in 2009, "Years ago Michael and I were having a deep conversation about life in general. He may have been questioning me about the circumstances of my father's death." According to the starlet, he then calmly delivered the following, "I am afraid that I am going to end up like him, the way he did." Elvis thought his family was using him for money. Before he became the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley didn't have the most supportive relatives. According to ex-wife Priscilla Presley in her memoir, some of the crooner's family members turned their backs on him when he was still growing up, dubbing him a sissy and a mama's boy. While Elvis' mother Gladys always built up her son and told him to ignore the unwarranted hate, things suddenly changed when the jailhouse rock singer made the A-list. Sometimes Elvis got upset charging. The only time they visit is with their handout recalled Priscilla of her time married to the icon. Elvis somewhat put himself in this situation. He gave jobs to multiple family members, including his father Vernon, who became his business manager, his first cousin Patsy, who became his secretary, and his three uncles who snagged roles as personal aides.